Blessed be my witches, my spiritualists, and welcome to another episode of Witch Please. It is I, Odin the Seer, and today I am going to be answering a message that I got from a Witch Please family member. They have a very difficult time with connecting or having their prayers answered. More so that they felt that their prayers were not being heard. Now, let me tell you that your prayers are being heard. However, sometimes you're just not speaking in the right voice. This is a very common thing for people to not feel as if their messages or their prayers are being heard. So, what I thought I would do today is I would share with you the recipe that I use for my powerful prayer enhancer incense. Now, I found that this enhancer incense has been a wonderful way for me when there seems to be times where I just can't seem to get the message through to the divine that I would like to. Now, is this because I've lost a connection? No, it has nothing to do with that. There's many different variables that are going on. Maybe you're confused, maybe you are feeling fearful, maybe you just don't understand exactly what it is you're trying to actually get through to the divine. With this recipe, I find it really assists one with being able to bridge that gap. What I am talking about is called Basilica. Basilica resin is a combination of 3, sometimes 4 resins that actually will assist with people being able to connect and have their prayers heard stronger. Now, we know that prayers are cast up on smoke. This is a lot of the reason why incense is burned in those ways, especially when it comes to in churches and sacred places and whatnot. It's how that energy and that vibration and those prayers can be sent to the divine. So any incense will actually assist with that prayer being heard. However, Basilica resin it's bar none my favorite. It is burnt in a lot of churches, and a lot of synagogues, and a lot of temples, and a lot of, you name it, it is constantly burned. Now, there is the burning of frankincense and myrrh, but what you'll find about Basilica resin is that frankincense and myrrh are 2 of the major components to this mixture. Now, I'm going to give you the standard mixture, but I'm also going to give you my personal mixture. And I'm going to go through every one of the botanicals and I'm going to tell you why I have chosen them. So let's get started. Now, benzoin is a very powerful botanical, and I love benzoin because it has a tendency of being able to purify in a way that for anybody who's ever used benzoin, you will understand the vibration that this botanical holds. Not only does it purify, it also allows for a prosperity to come in. You want the vibration that you send out, the prayer that you send out, to be one that's going to be prosperous. Okay? You want it to be something that is going to reach the divine, that is going to be easily attainable, that is not going to really cause that much of a conflict. So you really want to put that vibration of prosperity behind it. So as you can see here, I have a bottle, I actually have a huge bag that I have already made that's set away, but I normally keep them in these little bottles here. And I don't necessarily crush it into a powder, I just crush it up very fine. Now, it is not a powder, it does still have, it's still granulated, but I do like to break it down a little bit. So, equal amounts of all of these, y'all. You want to make sure that everything here is balanced. The next botanical we are going to be using is frankincense. Now, as I said earlier, we know that frankincense and myrrh are burnt in churches in the mornings and in the evenings. And we know that it's a very powerful way of being able to have your message heard by the divine. But let's take a look at frankincense a little bit deeper here when it comes to the purpose that we're using it for here, and that is to intensify our prayer. Well, frankincense is a wonderful prayer amplifier and intensifier. It also aids with concentration, as well as developing spirituality. This is the fundamental part here for you, okay? Is the amplification as well as the calling of spirit. I like to look at frankincense in the way that it allows one to be able to kind of, in a greater voice type of way, draw the attention of these beings that you are calling. Now, we'll also notice that a lot of times when we're working with the Chora or the archangels or whatnot, frankincense is one of the foremost resins that is used, because it draws attention, boom, like that. It allows for one to be able to say, hey, wait a second, I'm trying to say something here, and I would like for you to pay attention to what I'm saying so that you can hear me. I want to be heard. Right? So we add in that frankincense to bring in that intensity, to aid with that concentration, to call the spirits, to have our prayers be heard and be answered. The next one we are going to be using is going to be myrrh. Now, myrrh is a wonderful, wonderful resin when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to healing, when it comes to exercising the negative energies that are around you. Now, why would we want to bring this in here? Well, we know that it's a wonderful temple incense, and we know that it is also burnt along with frankincense in many different holy places. But we want to keep this energy exercised. We want to keep it clear. We want to be able to heal anything that may be causing conflict or causing a hindrance to our prayers being heard and being answered. I want to not allow anything, any external forces, any hag riding, anybody that's trying to cause conflict or trying to hinder me, drawing and creating distractions within inside my world that stop me from feeling connected to the divine and having my prayers answered. I like to bring in that element as well, and I find that I really get a good result when I add in the myrrh. So this right here would be what we would consider to be our standard Basilica resin. And this in and of itself, you put these together and you have a wonderful prayer amplifier. Now, I said equal parts of each one of these, and you just burn it on a charcoal briquette, a swift light, or a coconut briquette, whatever briquette you want. I have seen these new wonderful things where you put the incense right on top and a tea light underneath it, and bing bang boom, you're good to go. It's burning, it's fuming, I love it. So this is how you would do that. Now, we're going to bring it up a little bit for the Witch Please family, and I'm going to give you my personal recipe. So, we will use the base here, but we are also going to add a few more elements. The next one I like to use, and I find very, very powerful and very helpful within my Basilica resin, is Copal, golden Copal. Now, I like to use the golden Copal because I find that it helps with divine favor as well as purification. Now, for me, I don't find that I ask the divine for a lot, to be honest with you. I do a lot of communication and spirit work, but I don't really ask for much. However, when I am asking for something, I find that the golden Copal actually really does assist with one being able to ask for those things that are truly needed within inside of the self, within their spiritual world or within their physical world. And I will add equal parts of this as well. The next thing we're going to use is Copal Negro. I like to balance the light and the dark, okay? I want to be able to have the above realm as well as the below realm. I want to be able to pull in the needs of the spirit and the soul and be able to have my prayers be heard from the highest and the deepest self. So I like to bring in that Copal Negro to be able to help facilitate that. Help create that connection and that inner voice to be able to be heard. Not just by the divine, but also by the divine self. Also by the consciousness. So let's say if there's something in my stomach that's telling me, Odin, there's something not going on here, you're overlooking something. I want that to be heard by the divine, to be able to assist me, but I also want it to be heard by my conscious self. The next thing we are going to be using is Styrax, and some people refer to this as Styrax. Styrax is actually part of the Copal family. Now, I love Styrax, and I really wish a lot more people knew about this and knew how to use it and what it's for. Styrax does not play games. It does not have any falsities, right? It is what it is, right? It's powerful. It amplifies. It is the most authentic self. This is what it speaks to, and that's why I love to add this in here, because I love the fact that you can delude yourself into believing whatever you want to believe, and you can ask and pray to God. And a lot of the times when people are trying to pray to God, they don't really know what they want. They don't really know why they're praying. They have an idea, or they think it may be a certain thing, and it's really not that. And they will make these prayers, but it's not what they truly want. I can't begin to tell you how many times I've had people say to me, I'm looking for love. As soon as love comes knocking at their door, they run like the wind. Yet they've been praying to the divine over and over again to bring this into their reality. That's the reason why I like to have that, because it allows you, again, to be able to speak the truth of the soul and the heart of what is truly wanted, so that your prayers will be answered in a very unique way, because you are coming at it from a level of authenticity that Styrax brings. Styrax is also very good when it comes to sacred sexuality, when it comes to intimacy. It is a wonderful, wonderful botanical when it comes to altering your consciousness. Now, I don't mean altering your consciousness in a way that, let's say, peyote would or ayahuasca would. I'm talking about higher states of consciousness. This botanical allows you to be able to reach those states of consciousness. Now, a lot of people will go and do peyote. A lot of people will go and do ayahuasca, salvia, what have you. They'll use these things to be able to reach those higher states of consciousness. I find that you get a wonderful result. Maybe not in the same way that you would when it comes to these other botanicals. I mean, they're ingested. This is not ingested. This is burnt as an incense, right? It is not inhaled. It has nothing to do with any of that kind of stuff. It doesn't alter the consciousness on this plane of existence. What it does is that it allows for your consciousness naturally, and it has a tendency to prompt you to be able to move into a place, into a state of being that allows you to be able to reach other levels and higher levels of consciousness that is not going to be as jolting, which most people don't understand, but this could actually be very dangerous to the soul if you actually jolt it from one state to another swiftly. I find this is a wonderful way of being able, with a little bit of work and due diligence, to be able to bring yourself to that state very naturally, yet still very swiftly. When it comes to spirituality, when it comes to connecting to the higher selves and beings, all beings really, I find that Copal just brings in something unique. Not saying that Myrrh doesn't, not saying that Benzoin doesn't, not saying that Frankincense doesn't. I'm just saying that Copal has its unique way of handling that, and I like to be able to bring that vibration, especially the different combinations of this same type or family of botanicals. You know, when we're going through trying times, sometimes it's hard to feel God with us, and I've burnt it, and I have felt God. And I can tell you some stories about that as well. I've had things fall over in my room, many different things, to have God show me they're present. We have different prayers and different needs that we may have within our Basilica or for our Basilica resin. I find that one of the best ways of being able to do that is adding in a little bit of orange essential oil. If you are doing something for yourself, bringing the highest self and the deepest self together, just take out the amount of Basilica resin that is needed for that purpose, and you want to put in 1 drop. And that 1 drop will allow you to be able to connect the highest and the deepest self. If you want to have balance, you want to balance everything out, things seem to be chaotic and disarray, you put in 2 drops. If you want to be able to progress forward in a way that you just feel that you can't necessarily, you're having a difficult time, there's obstacles, you put in 3 drops. And if you want to just leave something behind and move on to something else, you put in 4 drops. So that, my spiritualists, my witches, is how I make and use my Basilica resin. If you have not pressed subscribe, you know you need to press subscribe. Join the Witch Please family and do not miss out on a thing. You can follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, as well as Facebook. You can always send me a personal email at witchpleaseofficial@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment below. Remember, we are opening our Witch Please doors to the public, so if you want to come and work specifically with me, my witches, leave me a personal email. I've said it before, and I will say it again. It is a pleasure to have you in my world. It is an honor to have you in my magic. And you are always in my heart. I will see you again on another episode of Witch Please. I love you, boo-boo.